Well, good morning. This morning, instead of the backyard, because it was so wet out there, we're going to go out front. I'm going to take them out in their little buggy. And I want to show you what they look like in their cute little buggy. So hold on. You guys want to say hi to everybody? Here. Here we go. Say hi. Hey, we're in our buggy. Okay. Let's go. Out the door. Out the door. Here we go. There's a squirrel in the tree too, guys. Yeah, there's a squirrel in the tree. Today we're going to do a pie dough, and then we're going to turn that pie dough into a chicken pot pie. Look at that. Can you see his tail? Hey, Mr. Squirrel, there he is. That's the dog Squirrel. We call him Fred. Can you see him? There he is. It's beautiful out here this morning. Well, good morning, everyone. As promised, I'm going to show you my recipe, how I do a homemade pie crust. It's fairly simple. You just have to overcome your fears, because for so long, every time I would make one, it would always come out either, too tough or falling apart, too dry, too wet. This one comes together fairly easily. It's just, following the steps in the food processor, stick it in the refrigerator, and away you go. Now, generally, because I totally despise having to clean out my food processor, I generally make more than, a couple of pie crusts. I'll just go ahead and make, 4 to 6, wrap those up and just throw them in the freezer. And that way you have them when you want them. Now, in my little bit of research, because I do buy store-bought pie crusts, I do use them quite often. There's nothing wrong with them. They're good. But I think these are better, a lot cheaper, and it's kind of, let's see, it helps with your creativity. It gives you something to do, and you can have fun doing it. Sometimes instead of it being a savory crust, like today we're going to do a chicken pot pie. Let's say you're going to do an apple pie, which I was going to today, but Kroger's isn't delivering until this afternoon, so I couldn't get my apples in time. But you can actually put like a teaspoon of whatever extract you want in this pie crust, and it just flavors that pie crust on the sweet side. But today it's savory, and let me go on with this and show you the ingredients that we have. I'm going to turn this camera down so you can see a little bit better. How's that? One of these days, guys, I'm going to have this fixed. Bluestream is promising to come by today. I had internet issues all week long, losing it. So here we go. So this is shortening, Crisco shortening, butter flavored, and butter. I've got 1 cup of shortening and 1/4 cup of diced butter. Now, I came across this by accident one day when I was making this recipe. I didn't have the necessary butter I needed. It calls for 1 1/4 cups of butter, cubed, frozen, very cold. And so I thought, well, I've got everything else. I'm just going to use shortening. So I put 1 cup of shortening in here, the 1/4 of butter that I had, and it worked out even better than all butter. I don't know why. I'm not a food scientist, but I've been using that ever since. So this is 1 cup of shortening, Crisco butter flavored. I guess you can use any shortening. And 1/4 cup of butter. Now, this is unsalted butter. If you use salted, just omit the salt in this recipe. This is 2 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour. This is it happens to be King Arthur today. This is 2 tablespoons of sugar and a teaspoon of kosher salt. Now, if you're going to use table salt, again, you have to cut that down to 1/2 teaspoon, because that's going to be more intense and salty than kosher, because kosher has a larger grains. So just keep that in mind. And we're going to use 6 tablespoons of ice water. So I just got my little handy little cup here, regular tap water and a handful of ice. And all this is just a sprinkle on my board, to, in case the dough sticks a little bit. You don't want to add too much. Try to add none at all if possible. But with the situation with my arm, I can't always struggle with it. It has to be a little bit easier. So I'm going to get my my rolling pin real quick. I didn't get that. So let's go ahead and see if we can do this. Now the trick to this, I know, Andy, and the dogs love the food processor. They start barking, and there's someone walking out front anyway. So my food processor, what we're going to do is put about half of our flour in the bowl. Okay? Spread that out a little bit. And then I'm going to put, at this point in time, my sugar and my salt. Now you don't want to omit salt altogether, because that, in breads and pastries and things like that, it is really rank. So I'm going to put this back on. I'm going to just pulse it. I know, you hear it? Hear the dogs. Okay, here we go. Okay, all right, I know. For some reason they love it. So now I'm going to put a few of the pieces of butter in here. Pulse those up. I don't like to do it all at one time, because sometimes it just gets into one big blob and it's just hard to handle. So I'll do a little bit more. I'm going to do it again, Andy. Okay, here we go again. Yeah, let's pulse it again. I know. He just knows. I'm surprised Rosie's not in here. She doesn't like this camera setup though. I know. I'm going to do this maybe 10, 12 times. Okay, let's check it, because we still have the shortening to get in here. Okay, yeah, that's good. Don't want to overdo it, because you want those little pieces in there. You want it to be like small piece sizes. So at this point in time, let me get my little trusty spoon out here. I'm going to put the rest of my shortening. Let me do it this way. The rest of my shortening and butter, and just little pieces just scattered around, because it'll clump up on you, and it's just going to make a mess. So don't put it in all at one time. It doesn't take that long. And don't try to double up your recipe thinking that you can get 4 to 6 crust out of this one go around. Doesn't work. I tried it. Doesn't work at all. Makes a mess. Okay. Let me get the rest of the flour in there. So this is 2.5 cups of flour, a cup of Crisco shortening, butter flavored, and a quarter cup of regular butter. We're going to pulse it again. I know, Andy. Here we go. Andy's telling us how to do it, guys. Okay, here we go. We're going to pulse it again. What do you think, Andy? Huh? What do you think? Here comes Rosie. Hey, Rosie. I know. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Doesn't take much. See, it's already forming those little, I'm going to loosen it up from the bottom. Now, forming the little pea-sized granules. All we're going to do is add enough moisture to make it form a ball on our blades. And then it's done. And we're going to put it in the refrigerator and let it set up in a couple of discs. And then we'll make, this afternoon, I'll make a chicken pot pie with it. Okay, so there we go. What is it, Andy? Okay, here we go. I know I'm doing it again. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now the recipe calls for 6 tablespoons of water, but err on the side of caution with this, guys, because it could take sometimes more, it could take less. Doing breads and doughs and pastries, the same recipe can change day by day. So let's do maybe 3 to start off with. Okay, sprinkle it in there. Down, just pulse it, keep an eye on it. Now this is a Hamilton Beef food processor. I can't really do it with my hands. Okay, so we're going to do 3 more. That's a half of one to my hand. I know. There we go. Poke it around and see what happens. Okay, we're getting there, guys. Oh my goodness, look at that, we're there. There we go, it formed a ball. We're done. We are done. Right, Andy? Thank you for your help. Yeah, thank you, Rosie, for your help too. Couldn't have done it without you. Okay. So, let's go back and recap this. Let me show you what this looks like. It formed a ball. See how it formed a ball in here? See that? That's an indication that it's ready to go. And again, it's like Play-Doh. Okay, it's 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. This happens to be King Arthur. And I do believe that different flours create different results. I've used so many of them over the years. I do like King Arthur. And Gold Medal is good as well. So 2.5 cups of flour, a cup of shortening, a 1/4 cup of butter diced, and put it in the freezer for 5 minutes before you use it. 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then you want to use up to and maybe more than 6 tablespoons of iced water. Then you want to break that down in a couple of different sets and blend it and pulse it as you go, and then put the water in and let it go until it forms a ball, and you're done with that. So you can get rid of the food processor. And what I'm going to do, let me put this down now, and I'll show you how I'm going to form this for you. Take a little bit of flour. Like I said, don't do much, because you don't want to make your dough all hard and tough. And yes, I have to clean this food processor. Now what I should be doing is making another batch and just throwing it in the freezer, but I'm not going to do that today. So I'm going to take my dough. I'm not going to work with it a lot. I'm just going to pull it together. Pull it together like this. A little bit of, and it's like Play-Doh. It feels just like Play-Doh. So try to get it in some kind of a disc. Now this is going to be 2 crust. So I'm going to divide it in half, or as half as I can. On the top of this chicken pot pie, well, on any dough that you're using a double crust, top is usually, it needs to be bigger because it has to cover where the bottom doesn't. So I'm gonna go a little bit more like that. This will be the top crust, the larger one, and this will be the bottom one. So go ahead and form this in a circle and a disc. Flatten it out a little bit, because when it comes out of the refrigerator later on, when we go to use it, we have to roll it. And the flatter it is, the easier it's going to roll for you. You don't have to fight it. So, I've got my two little baggies here. I love these things. I'm really against saran wrap. I can't deal with it. It just, I don't know. I'm not inclined that way. So here's our disc for the bottom crust. I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna fold it up. And then I'm gonna stick it in the refrigerator for, you can put it, if you're in a hurry, you don't have a lot of time, leave it in there for at least a half an hour, 45 minutes. It really needs to set up. It's easier to work with and it comes out a lot better. If not, you can leave it in the refrigerator for up to 3 days. And then you can just throw it in the freezer if you're not ready to use it. I've done that before several times. So, here we go with this disc. We're going to put that in a little bag. I don't like to put it in the same bag because when you go to take it out, they've latched together and you're pulling them apart. I don't like to mess with, hurt the dough by stretching it out and mangling it. Here we go. Can you see that all right? Here we go. There you go. And like I said, we're going to do chicken pot pie today. I'm thinking about doing, here we go, stick those in the refrigerator. Now, we are going to do chicken pot pie today, and I'm also thinking if I have time, because Bluestream's supposed to stop by and work on my internet. If that happens, then I'm going to be out of time. If not, I'm going to try to do an applesauce loaf bread for you. I love to have these little breads in the house when company comes by, or you want something quick to snack on, or just to throw in the freezer for later. If you don't know, you never know when people are going to come by, and you will be able to offer them something. So there you have it. So until we start the chicken pot pie, I'll see you then. Thanks for stopping by. I want you to see this squirrel again. Andy, look, there's your squirrel. Look, there he is. He came back. He must live here. I'm going to have to start charging him rent. My son-in-law, Eric, made a birdhouse. Let me show it to you. It's on the other side. See the red cardinal looking birdhouse? Eric made that. He made a lot of those. I sold them the year before last for our AED fundraiser. But I could rent this squirrel that birdhouse. I bet he would love it, and he wouldn't have far to go to the restaurant there. Right, Fred? Say, that's right, Mrs. Goss. Okay, Fred, enjoy. Okay, the chicken is done. I've taken it out of the pressure cooker. Now, if I was going to be doing all of this, just really quick here at the house and, just cut this recipe in half, which I am going to do, I would be doing everything in the pressure cooker. But I'm not going to do all that because just to explain it, it gets more involved, and I will do that in another video. Now, this particular recipe, I'm making the filling for a regular size chicken pot pie. However, I'm scaling it down to a 6-inch round pot pie. This is 4 people, depending on what you're going to be eating extra with this. So you don't need anything. But the additional filling that I'm making, I'm going to be repurposing, and I'm going to use it with wild rice. It makes a nice little meal, and then you can have a pretty little salad on the side. And the mailman came, so you can hear the dogs. So let me turn this down. Let me real quick go over the ingredients and the seasonings, and we'll get started on the crust, rolling out the crust. Okay, so here we go. I've already got the skillet preheating. Okay, so for the filling, I've got some squash, some onions, broccoli, some minced garlic, and celery in this bowl. Now this was all in the refrigerator, and I don't have an upcoming recipe that I was going to use any of this for. That little squash was that little teeny one I got the other day that was so sad. I'm going to use this just so I'm not throwing it away. You can use any fillings you want in these pot pies. And then for my peas and carrots and corn, I'm going to use a cup of frozen vegetables to beef it up a little bit, or chicken it up, right? Did it? And then I've got 3 cups of shredded chicken. Now I poached this in the pressure cooker with just water, and that's it. So the water that I poached that in, I used in my my broth and milk mixture. So you've got pretty much homemade chicken broth with no salt added. So this is very low sodium. But this broth mixture, which is going to be your thickener along with flour, you'll see as we go along, is 3 cups. I'm sorry. Hold on. I am going to look at this because I don't want to screw you up. It is a 1/2 cup of cream. It's actually 1/2 and 1/2 I'm using, and 1.5 cups of chicken broth, which I used out of the pressure cooker that poached the chicken breast. Now the seasonings I'm using, I love this brown gravy mix from McCormick's. I'm going to use a tablespoon of this. It's great in flavor, and it does aid in as a thickener. Sea salt, my butcher block coarse ground pepper, black pepper, and of course my turmeric, very good in health benefits. My cumin, also good in health benefits. Rosemary, and let me pull this, my thyme. Where is it? Oh, here we go. I had it out front. And thyme. So we're going to start putting this all together and get that started so that I can get the roll the dough out and get that started. So this has been preheating. I'm going to turn it up to about 300 degrees. So you can see that a little bit better, huh? I have maybe 2 tablespoons of sunflower and olive oil. I want to show this to you. This is great stuff. It is sunflower oil and extra virgin olive oil, and it's 2 quarts. I use this a lot in cooking. This costs on Amazon, I believe, $9.54. That is a tremendous cost. Olive oil, the same, would be $25 to $30. Okay, so we're going to get started on this. I'm going to go ahead and get my vegetables in there. These are all, I cut these fresh. Just what I had in the refrigerator, nothing fancy. Let's get that going. This will be ready to go once we get our pot going all straight. Now I'm going to turn that up just a hair. Get rid of this. And then we're going to use our frozen vegetables. Put that in there. There you go. And now we're going to use their seasonings in there. So, I'm going to use, let me make sure I do all of this right. We're going to do, I'm going to change this recipe over for the filling. Okay, for the salt is a teaspoon. Now, of course, you know, this is a seasoning how you like it and how your family likes it. And then black pepper. Usually I use a lot of black pepper because I like it. But I'm cutting this back to a half a teaspoon because it is strong. It's that coarse ground black pepper. What you doing, Andy? You looking for the man? And then I'm going to use a teaspoon of my gravy mix. All it is called Premium Brown Gravy Mix by McCormick. You okay there? I'm gonna put it on you. I ain't got one on you. You all messed up. Here you go. There you go. There you go. Now his blanket came down. Okay. So, sprinkle that in. And then, rosemary. I'm only going to use a half of a teaspoon of rosemary. That's pretty powerful. What you doing here, Andy? Oh, pretty powerful seasoning. And then the thyme, they call for a teaspoon of thyme, but I'm putting that back to a half. Ground thyme. Thyme is also strong, especially the ground. And then the cumin, that's also a half of a teaspoon. And to put the lid back on, these lids and me just don't get along good. Where are you, Andy? What are you doing, huh? Keep an eye on him. Where'd you go? Okay, the turmeric, another seasoning I use that you really don't, it's not a big so much in taste, but it does have a lot of color, and it's great for your health. It's great anti-inflammatory. So, we got everything in there. I'm going to stir this up really good. Let's just cook down a little bit while I roll out the, can you see that okay? Andy, where did the man go? Huh? Is the man coming? Yeah. Is the man coming? Yeah. Okay, what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to add just a couple tablespoons of water and put the lid on there to steam it. Just a little bit. There we go. You don't need any extra oils or butters or all that. Just use water. There we go. We'll put the chicken in at the last. Okay. So, the chicken over here, the flour for your thickener, and your broth. So let's clear the decks. Okay, we're going to do the pie crust for a little, not a lot. You don't want to do too much. Let's get that to the side. Let's get our pie crust. Remember this little guy? Yeah. This is going to make a lot larger crust than we're going to need. Because this, of course this isn't made for this tiny little. Okay, Andy, what are you doing? There we go. Turn this around. Got a little warm on me. It's hot in my kitchen this afternoon. But we can go ahead and roll this out and keep it moving. Andy, where are you? I don't see you. You better look out there and see the man. Try to keep this from sticking as much as you can. See how flaky that is? It wants to keep. There we go. A little bit more. Keep it Oh, I can smell that rosemary, that thyme. Okay, so let's get this rolled up in our pie plate. You know, see it's got a little bit warm sitting out here on this counter. And you want to keep it as cold as you can. There we go. And our plate. There we go. You don't want to force it, and when it falls like that, just glue it back together. Very forgiving, very soft, very pliable. Steal this and put it right here. I hope you can see me. I'm sorry. There you go. And you see the man. There, see the man? See how you just take off the edge and then you can patch up your little mistakes? There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's got a little bit too warm on me. That'll be alright. It'll work. Actually, while I'm doing that, I'm going to throw this in the freezer. The top crust. They mean business when they say keep it cold. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut the excess off of here. There you go. Put that to the side. Kind of turn this under a little bit. And then to finish this, I'll put this in the freezer as well. Because we want it to go into the oven cold. So it'll be flaky. See how warm it's gotten? There we go. And there's nothing wrong with the store-bought pie crust. But I wanted to show you the homemade version. There you go. You have the same issues with your store-bought pie crust as well. When that gets warm, it doesn't like to handle well. Just go around the edge. Make sure it's sealed up there. We don't have to pre-bake this or anything because it's all going to be baked in the oven with the filling intact. If not, we would have to put pie weights in it and pre-bake it. But we're good to go here. So let me cover it up. I'm going to stick this in the freezer as well until this gets done. There we go. So we'll just keep this the way it is because we still have to roll out our top crust, but see, I had quite a bit of dough left. Okay, so let's check on our filling. Oh, it smells wonderful. Either that or I'm really hungry. There you go. Now this is going to bake, so this doesn't have to, you don't want to get this too done because this is going to bake for 45 minutes in the oven. And I have a few pieces of broccoli I threw in there. There we go. I got that squash, a potato cut small. You have your frozen vegetables. So, what we're going to do now is make like our roux, our you know, the creamy mixture that goes into the pot pie. So what we're going to do is sprinkle on some flour, third of a cup, all purpose. There we go. And I'm going to get my other little, let me move this down, see it better. Can you see it better that way? I'm going to cook this up just a little bit. You want to, anytime you use flour in an application like this, a recipe, you want to give it time to cook down a little bit. Get away from that raw flavor, raw taste. Something just went overboard there. It does smell good. There you go. It doesn't take long at all to make. This is a very simple recipe. Okay, now we're going to put in our liquid, which is half and half. I'll put just a little bit in at a time, half maybe at a time, just to avoid lumps. You want to stir it in. And don't forget, this is a recipe for a large chicken pot pie. And we're only going to use a portion of this, and then I'm going to save the rest. I'm going to do a wild rice recipe with this as a topping, and it's wonderful. Now you can also, which is just a great change up with this, is you can put scallops and shrimp instead of chicken. Scallops and shrimp in as your meat. You don't have to put any meat in here at all. You can put ground turkey, you can put ground sausage, you can put kielbasa. There's just so much that you can do with this little base recipe. Just use your imagination and have fun with it. I mean, let me taste this and see how the flavors are. Oh, it's alright. It's great. It's great. Okay, let's let it thicken up a little bit. Let me turn it up just a hair. I don't want to burn it. In the meantime, I'll get all of this out of the way. So I'm going to get ready to roll our top crust and get it in the oven. Again, I think I told you, but I'm going to tell you again. Your oven, 400 degrees. And this is going to go in for about 45 minutes. The recipe calls for it. I'm going to cut that back to my timer for 35 minutes and start checking it. About halfway through, since it is a crust, pie crust, I'm going to see how dark it's getting. And at that point in time, I may just tint it. That's a good habit to get into. Yeah, this is thickening up very nicely. I hope you can see that, how pretty that's coming together. It smells wonderful. And you don't have to put all these vegetables in here. I made a chicken pot pie. It's been a while now though. That I just put spinach. I put tomatoes and some other items, like I think I did broccoli, and just used that as my filling for my vegetables, and it came out fine. So there's a number of things that you can do. Yeah, this is good. This is good. So right now what we're going to do is add our chicken. Let's get our chicken in here. Now I didn't cut up my chicken real small because it gets in there, it gets stirred up, and it falls apart, and pretty soon you can't find a piece of chicken. So this way, at least you know there's chicken in here. Now you can also do this like a beef pot pie. You can put, like a pork loin, a leftover pork loin, cut that up and put that in. Okay, that's a perfect filling. It's beautiful, actually. Let me show it to you if you can see this. Can you see that? It's really a nice filling. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off actually because this filling's done. You don't want to overcook it, do it too that filling to where it's just totally, thick and unpalatable. You want it to be like this. I'm going to taste it again. So I added some other items to it. Oh, where's my spoon? Another spoon.
This will be great over wild rice. Perfect. Okay, so now let's clear the decks. Let me move my silicone mat out. I love this little silicone mat. I ordered a larger one because this one is just a little bit small. It makes such a mess rolling out these pie crusts. Okay, there you go. Let's get our crust out of the oven. Out of the refrigerator. I'll this out a little bit like this first. Now we're not fooling with it so much. Yeah, it's still soft. I should have left it. Instead of bringing it out and talking to you, I should have. Let me get my rolling pin. Put it out in here a little bit better. That might work. There are some recipes that call for you to do this, a pie crust. This is so soft. My kitchen is, let me see the temperature here, 76 degrees. No wonder everything's thawing out. I'm thawing out. Okay, let me get my scissors and cut that bag off of here. These bags are the handiest things in the world. I get them on a roll from Amazon. I think a roll. And I use it for my bread, everything. Turn this over. That turned out better anyway. At least it's a little bit colder than before. That other one, the bottom layer. But what we're going to do is continue on in the same vein, since it is a little bit more pliable than I like. I'm going to do it this way. There we go. And this is the same dough. You see how different it's acting. Over that last one, we had a little bit of a problem with the edges. But then, you know, this is a rustic meal. It doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. How's that? Much, much, much better. Okay. Whoops. Didn't mean to drop you. Okay. Let's get this out of the way. Alright, let me get the bottom shell. Oh, that's much better. So much nicer. See, much nicer. So that's just rule of thumb. You saw it firsthand on warm dough. Okay, let's get this together. Okay, how are we going to do this? Move it over here. There we go. What you doing, Andy, huh? Okay, can you see me okay? Alright. Sorry about my hand. I can't work with the other hand. Maybe we'll do it this way so you can see. So you don't want to overfill it. You want to fill it up though. Get your juices in there. Because this is already cooked. The only thing we're cooking is the pie crust. Now we have plenty that we're going to have to work with left over for our next meal of wild rice with this as our topping. Look at that. See how pretty that is? Now I'm going to mess up here and keep talking, and this crust is going to get warm. And then we're going to be in the same mess I was in with the bottom crust. So let me get this going. Here, let's so you can see me. Watch me mess up. Take your bench scraper and go underneath. Keep it from sticking, and it is warm. Oh, yeah, it's gotten warm. Just in that little bit of time. Yeah. Okay. Okay. There we go. If this was really cold and I wasn't talking so much and just doing this, it wouldn't happen. But it's not handling too badly, as soft as it is. And here you go. Can you see that? Can you see that already? Here, let's see. Can you see that? Here. How's that? Put it back over here. Can you see that? Okay, there you go. Okay, so I'm just going to take some of this off. We don't need it. Like I said, when we made this, it was made for a 9-inch round pie. And this is a 6-inch. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it under. You see? Can you see that? I'm going to turn it under. Roll it under. See? There you go. As nice as it is to work with warm like this, that's not the ideal way to work with a pie crust. Got to be kept cold, even if you have to stick it back in the refrigerator. But we don't have time on our side. I'm trying to cut these videos back a little bit and keep running over. Here we go. And this is a little 6-inch round pie plate. It's such a mess here. There we go. See? We'll hold all those juices in. And then we'll crimp it so it'll be pretty, okay? That's enough there to make another pie. Okay, can you see? Okay, now remember when I told you about crimping? Take these 2 fingers and you push like this all the way around. Now, there's different ways to do it. This is just the way I feel most comfortable, and my hands kind of work with me. Yeah, it's really soft. It's going to be fun. It's going to taste great. And it's just working with it and it being warmer than what it should be. But my kitchen is very, very warm today. It's warm outside. Okay. And there you have it. Look at that. Beautiful little pie. Can you see that? There you go. See? Now, I'm going to gild the lily here, okay? I should have done this ahead of time, but I just thought of it. We're going to put an egg wash on top of it. Alrighty? Just take a second. Get an egg and a little trusty. Put just a tad bit of water in there. Scramble up your egg real good. Put your pastry brush. See? Put your pastry brush. And that. And Blue Stream said they'll be here at 2 o'clock. And it's 1:45 so I gotta get this in the oven before they get here. And just go around. Now don't forget, this pie crust is going to brown up, especially the edge, a lot faster than the pie is going to be done, because you want to get the bottom pie crust completely done too, so don't forget that. So keep your little foil, the little foil tent that I showed you, handy for about halfway through. I'll start looking at it about 25 minutes since we're baking it for 45. And then we're going to cover it. And then we'll take a look and just see what we have to do. Now I'm going to take my knife and we're going to make some little chimney holes up top so it has a place to breathe. Make it kind of pretty. Like so. See? Make all kinds of designs. Actually, you can design the leftover pie scraps and put little designs on top of the pie with that. But I just can't do that. I don't have the dexterity in my hands to do that. Okay, guys, what do you think? Isn't it pretty? Okay, it's going in the oven. Okay, we're putting our beautiful pie, our chicken pot pie, in the oven, 400 degrees. We're going to bake it. I'm going to set the timer for 45 minutes. I'm sorry, I'm going to set the timer for 35 minutes. Check it, and then we'll go from there. Every 5 minutes, I'll check it further and see what we need to do. But just keep your tin foil handy so that you're going to be tinting it. I can guarantee you're going to need to tint it. So let me get it in the oven. Let's see where the oven is. We'll get it in the oven. Turn the oven lights on so I can see what I'm doing in here. And there you have it. Alexa, set timer for 35 minutes. So, what I'm going to do with this leftover, let me show you right now. With our leftover is I'm going to put it in a container. I'm going to bring it to room temperature. Never put anything hot or warm in the refrigerator. I'll put this on the counter, let it cool down to room temperature. And once that happens, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. And if I don't use it by tomorrow, it goes in the freezer. And I can always just bring it out. And at that point in time, work with it. Now there's a quart here. I could possibly get 2 different recipes out of this filling. There we go. Just put what it is. Let me get down and show you what I do. So chicken filling, chip filling, and today's 30th, right? So April 30th. There you go. Okay, well, we did it. We survived the homemade pie crust fiasco. Just remember, when you make this, keep it cold. Yeah, at least you're not running your mouth like I am and holding things up in your kitchen 76 degrees. But that's the worst case scenario. We survived. It's in the oven. It looks pretty. Hopefully it's going to taste pretty. We'll get Sam to taste it. So until then, I'll see you. Well, I'm back as promised. We're all done and it's cooled down. And I've got some special guests here. The Blue String people that I talk about all the time. This is Cyrus and Lewis. They're going to taste it. Hi, guys. Hi. Okay, let's see what we got. We're going to boil it down. We're going to cut into it. I bet you're hungry anyway. Right? Yeah. Now these guys are starved. They've been working all day.
I smell that chicken.
Chicken breast. Okay. Go ahead and dig in. And just tell me what you think.
tastes very good.
Tastes very good.
And the crust is nice too, isn't it? That's a homemade crust.
Like chicken and vegetables.
Mm-hmm. Tons of vegetables. Even a squash in there. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate everything you've done for
Very
me.
good.
Very good.
So with that, I'm going to bid you adieu. And thanks, guys, for stopping in and visiting today. Bye-bye.